Hey guys, so I just want to do a quick review on the Tamron SP 70-300. I have my lovely model here, Candice, and we'll just be testing out this lens real quick. All right, let's get shooting. What's up guys? So today I want to talk about a sub $500 lens from Tamron. It is for the A mount system, and I want to see how it's going to work on the a99 Mark II. Now I'm just going to tell you straight up that it's not going to be as sharp as the Zeiss or the G Master, but the bottom line right now is, as of making this video, Sony is not releasing any new lenses for the A mount system. When I first started photography, I started off with a Sony mirrorless NEX5N. Loved that camera. It was an awesome camera. But the reason why I switched to the A-mount system was because at the time, the A-mount system for full frame sensors were the only one that was available for Sony. And I'll get into why I picked Sony over Canon in a later video, but for the most part, that's why I stuck with the A-mount. The reason why I picked up the Sony A58, even though it's a crop sensor camera, is the fact that the mount is the same for crop sensor and for full frame. So if I buy a full frame lens for this Sony A58, when I decide to upgrade to a full frame, the lenses that I already have would already work. Later on, as you guys all know, upgraded to the Sony a99 Mark II. I couldn't understand why the lenses were so expensive, and at the time I couldn't understand why I would spend more money on a lens than on the actual camera body itself. It didn't make any sense to me. So I started off with this Tamron 70-300. It's the SP line. It's a variable aperture from, I think, F4 to 5.6. So that means at 70mm, it is, I can open it as wide or as high as F4, and at 300mm I can shoot it at 5.6. So after shooting with this lens for maybe 5-6 times, I put it on the side because then I realized the lens does make a huge difference. But shooting at 5.6 was just too much for my little A58. So there's only three things that's going to affect depth of field. That's going to be your aperture, your focal length, and the distance from you to the subject. Now at 300mm on a full frame sensor, even at 5.6, the depth of field will be pretty narrow. So that's what we're going to look for, because as the background of your subject falls out of the depth of field focal plane, that's when the lens is going to have the chance to render its bokeh effect, if you will. So I get a lot of emails and Facebook messages and messages all over the place asking me, does the eye autofocus on the a99 Mark II work on Tamron lenses? And I can't validate all Tamron lenses unless Tamron wants to send me all your lenses. That would be cool. But I can say for the 28 to 75 f2.8 Tamron lens, eye autofocus does work. And the Tamron 90mm macro lens, this isn't the new one, this is the old one. And eye autofocus still works on this bad boy. The 70 to 200 f2.8 Tamron lens here, eye autofocus also works. So eye autofocus works on all these lenses, and it's great. The question is, does it work on the 70 to 300 f4-5.6? I'm just going to tell you right now, it does. And the great thing about this a99 Mark II, I'm just going to throw this in there, the in-body stabilization, the IBIS, is fucking awesome. I was shooting this guy at 300mm at 1 and 1/13 or 1 and 1/20th, 1 and 1/10, one of those at 300mm. That's crazy. All right, let's look at some sizes for this lens. All right, so this is the length of the 70 to 200, and this is the length of the 70 to 300. So you can see the difference. It's maybe about 2 to 3 inches shorter than the 70 to 200. As far as weight goes, everybody knows the 70 to 200 is the tank. So this is nothing compared to the 70 to 200. So what I like about this lens is that it's 300mm, so that offers very good compression if you need it. The eye autofocus works as it should on the a99 Mark II. F5.6 may not be that high, or it may not sound like it opens up that wide, but from a depth of field standpoint, at 300mm at 5.6, your depth of field is pretty narrow. The bokeh rendering off this lens is pretty nice. I kind of like it, and it does very nice color rendering on this, so I get beautiful vibrant colors from this lens. The only thing I don't like about this lens is the lens creep. If it's swinging on the side of your hip, this might be a problem. And if I have to zoom, I don't have to re-expose my image because the aperture changed. You know what I'm saying? So you're too far away from the subject. I don't know, 50 to 60 feet away, it just feels like that. You have to yell across, especially when it's windy, or especially when you're next to the ocean. If you're next to the ocean, if you're just 20 feet away, I mean, you're already yelling at, top of your lungs saying, hey, move this way, move that way. The problem I was having is that it would miss focus a lot more often than it would on my Zeiss. On my Zeiss, I would get maybe 95% in focus images. For eye autofocus, for this lens, maybe I would get 80% in focus from eye autofocus, so it didn't seem to lock on focus as well as my Zeiss. So if you made it to the end of this video, you might as well take a look at this part. This is the actual raw file that came out from this shoot. This is loaded into Lightroom, and I'm hitting the reset button down here in the right corner here just to validate that no edits were done to this image, no sharpening or anything. So we're just going to zoom in to a 1:1, and just to see how sharp that this lens is at 300mm. And I shot this at 1/40th of a second at f5.6 and ISO 100. This was a handheld shot. So all in all, I'm pretty impressed with this lens. I mean, for a sub $500 lens, it's not too shabby. The Zeiss lens is definitely a little bit sharper than this, but do you really need it that much sharper? So this you can find on Amazon. Links will be down below. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. If you want to see more videos like this or photography related videos, please hit that subscribe button. Just remember to have a great day, keep on shooting, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. See you in the next video. Thanks again. Bye.